Hey everybody, welcome to Tabletop Never Stop. We're doing another craft hobby video today. And I'll be showing you how I make castle bases out of tiny tiles. These are my Night's Watch command group, but we're going to be putting those same basing effects on Varys, Littlefinger, and George. So let's jump right in. Absolute first thing you're going to need to do is remove these guys from the bases. I like to do that for most of my basing needs anyway, but for this particular technique, we're going to absolutely have to. So CMON miniatures are actually generally pretty easy to get off the base. You're going to need some snippers and something hard and narrow that you can use to pop them out after you've removed the nubs from the bottom. So what that looks like is basically this. Just taking this file here, I'm going to come from below. All right, and so the big benefit of doing this instead of cutting them off is I can put them back on, right? And when I glue arrays back on here, it's going to be way easier. I'm not going to have to worry about them popping off. Where if you just cut off the nubs and glue the feet to the base, you have less of a good contact. So let's get all these guys off of their bases real quick. Okay, so that was pretty painless. Even if you're doing like a whole 12 units or whatever, that should still go pretty easily for you. And just kind of gee-whiz information, you can see that I actually never bothered to paint the feet on Varys or George because I knew that they'd be coming off and I could get to the feet a little easier. All right, so I actually use little tiles that I glue and then paint when I make castle bases. And it's actually easier than you think. I have a very small square hole punch, and you can make tiles out of almost anything. Well, not out of almost anything, but you'll have lots of thin cardboard lying around the house probably that you should be able to use. And I'll just show you how easy this is. As you can see, I have a bunch of holes in this DiGiorno box, and then they'll just pop right out of my hole punch. Boom. If you're planning on doing a lot of castle bases, you'll spend a fair amount of time punching holes out, but just sit down to your favorite movie or podcast or whatever, and it'll go pretty quick. Now we're going to glue these guys on. I like to use super glue from a brush for this particular task, and then you're going to want a hobby knife, and then sometimes I find the best way is to have something else to kind of hold the tiles in place. I like to keep the peg holes open so I can put them back on the pegs, because again, those have a much sturdier connection if you do that. And so we're just going to kind of mosaic our tiles here on or around the hole for the miniature's feet. Okay, so sometimes what I'll do is I'll use the second piece to hold them in place, like that. Okay, so got all our tiles glued onto our bases, and now I'm just going to take my clippers and kind of cut off the excess. And you could do this with a hobby knife, but I don't because I get tired of cutting myself. Okay, so there's a couple different ways we can approach this. I'm gonna do a couple different types of paint application here. I'm gonna do one dark, kind of like how we did. I have the Night's Watch. I'm gonna do a lighter one, and then I'm gonna do a checkered Harlequin pattern. And of course, I'm doing all three of these at the same time. Well, to save time. And here's our finished product. Got some very dark castle stones, some much lighter ones, and a checker pattern. There's a bunch of other things you could do. You could have made any kind of checker pattern you want. I could have gone even lighter on the stones Varus is standing on by dry brushing even more white layers on there. And if I were to put more art coat on some light stones, it would be kind of a marble finish. So those are some things you can do. And that's my tutorial on castle basing.